Hi everyone, with the 11th edition on the horizon and everyone talking about Blood Angels and Orcs, I thought today I would give you my take on a Blood Angel using this Mark VI Heresy Marine. So I love to paint in a bit more of a grittier, more realistic style, but I really wanted to experiment with a different coloured red recipe than the usual blood red that you see everywhere on YouTube. So I opted for a few different choices when I was doing the armour colour, but ultimately I think it reads as this lovely rich red with these orangey highlights, and I absolutely love the way it looks. So I thought I'd just quickly share this recipe today. I hope you enjoy, and yeah, let's paint. So I have pinned and primed the model black, and the first base coat we're going to be applying is Dark Sea Blue from AK, and this is going to be our shadow color. So we're going to completely coat the mini in this until we get a nice opaque finish. Okay, and with that Dark Sea Blue applied, we've got this really lovely deep blue base coat. This blue has a bit of green in it as well, so blue and green are perfect contrasts for red, so it's a fantastic base colour to have in your shadows. Next colour we're going to apply to start the red armour is going to be wine red. So this is a really lovely burgundy red. It can go on quite pinkish to start off with, but it does darken down, and I'm going to be quite selective with where I choose to apply this. So I'm going to slowly build up all the volumes across the model, being careful to leave the blue in the shadows. But I want to make sure that some of this is on pretty much every single part of the miniature. So just take your time and just apply to all the volumes to build up this first initial red. And with the wine red applied, you'll have something that looks like this. And I love this desaturated, rich, almost pinkish burgundy. It goes so well with the Dark Sea Blue, and I just love the finish. The last little highlight we're going to do is a colour called Amaranth Red. Now this is quite an orange red, okay, so we want to aim at just the peak points like the head, the tops of the pauldrons, backpack, and a little bit on his power fist, but it's really easy to overdo the steps, so we want to aim for very small highlights and be quite precise. So I've got my airbrush down to a very low PSI, and I'm just going to be putting puffs of the air towards the area in which I want to have the highlights. So like there at the top of the pauldron, I'll do the other side, just to the top of his head, and a little bit on the power fist too. And again, we don't want to overdo this step and turn the model orange, but we just want to bring in a little bit of a spot highlight. And when we apply some oils, this will be knocked back a little bit anyway, so don't worry if it's a little bit bright when it goes on. And when that stage is done, you'll have something that looks like this. And again, it's okay that it looks a bit bright at this stage, because the oil is going to knock back the armor, but I already love how this looks. I think it's fantastic. I'm just going to apply a bit of chipping now using the same Dark Sea Blue that we used in the beginning. I'm going to take the majority off on my little bit of sponge here, and I'm going to very gently tap a few select areas with this colour that I think would get the most wear and tear. So around its foot and legs, for example. But take your time, we don't want to overdo this, we just want to introduce a little bit of chipping, like these guys have obviously seen the battlefield. And with the sponge chipping applied, you should have something that looks like this. Now, I did go in with a hairy brush just to refine some of the edges that were a bit difficult to get to with the sponge, like around the power fist, tops of the knees, and a few other little armor points, just to kind of do a bit of an edge highlight, but the reverse in a sense, because we're actually darkening it down, but it just helps refine those edges. All I'm going to do now is I am going to gloss varnish the model, apply some decals, and then seal the decals in another layer of gloss ready for the oils. Okay, and with the decals now applied and another coat of gloss varnish, we're ready to move on. And I already love how this model is looking. Now, with the decal on the Power Fist, I did go over with a little bit more of the dark sea blue just to blend it in and weather that decal up a little bit. The same with the one on his chest. But before we apply the oils, I'm just going to go in and base coat the metallics just using Jet Exhaust from Vallejo. So I'm going to very quickly paint up his power sword, and I'm also going to do the fingers on his Power Fist because I just like the way it looks and I think it balances the model. And with the metallics all blocked out, the next thing we're going to do is apply an oil wash. So I'm using 2 parts Cobalt Violet Hue to 1 part Starship Filth, and we've got this kind of grey purple mix here. So the reason I'm adding purple is just because it contrasts really nice with the red, and it will help bring in some of that vibrancy. So still want this to look quite gritty, so we don't want to be using pure Cobalt Violet, though you could if you wanted a bit more saturation, but I like the muted tones. So I'm just going to bring this to the model and just start tapping away at the areas that I want this mix to run into. And work your way around the whole model. And what I do is I keep a little pot of clear mineral spirits off to the one side, and if I feel like I've applied too much to an area, I'll just wick off my brush and feather out where there's too much oil applied. Alright, so I've gone away, had a cup of tea, taken a walk, and I've come back and the oil is now completely dry. I love how this armour looks. It's like this warm red glow. I think it looks wonderful. I'm just going to do the gold elements now, and for the gold I'm using Victorian brass from Scalecolor, and I'm just going to use this on the little rivets on the shoulder pad, but I've also got a bit of trim on the other pauldron too. So take your time not to get this on the armour, and work your way around. And once this is done, we're going to give the model a coat of satin varnish. The reason I'm using satin is because it still allows the different tonal variations of the armour to pop through, whereas matte would really dull it back. So satin is my preferred varnish under this circumstance. And with the satin varnish applied, this Blood Angel is complete, and I think he looks wonderful. I really love this kind of more grittier approach to painting Blood Angels. I see plenty of tutorials online for painting just the normal blood red, but I like this to look quite different from the more conventional way of painting. I mean, this does lean in more to a heresy era style, but I mean, you could happily apply this to a 40k Blood Angel, and I think they would look amazing as well. All that's left to do is I'm just going to pop him on his base and finish the last few details, such as the eye lenses and the little glowing parts on the power sword, and we'll come back and have a look at him when he's complete. Okay, and with this Blood Angel based, he is complete, and I think he looks wonderful. So do let me know what you think of this armor recipe. I know it leans more into heresy style, but as I said, I think it would look great on some 40k Space Marines as well. I just love the richness of the reds and the oranges, and like I said from the beginning, it does dull down as you apply varnish and the oil wash, but it still ultimately reads as red, but this really deep rich red, which I love. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for those that have already started to support me on Patreon. It just allows me to do more videos like this, so I can't thank you enough. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.